Dear students of class 11th, अस्सलाम वालेकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातहू। जैसा कि आप जानते हैं, पिछले लेक्चर में हमने हाइड्रोजन बॉन्डिंग के बारे में पढ़ा। तो अब आप जान गए हैं कि जो हाइड्रोजन बॉन्डिंग है, इट इज़ अ फोर्स ऑफ अट्रैक्शन बिटवीन partial positively charged hydrogen of one molecule with the partial negatively charged, highly electronegative charged atom of another molecule. This force of attraction which results between hydrogen of one atom and electronegative atom of another atom is called as hydrogen bond. And you already know that the electronegative atom which is involved in hydrogen bonding should be highly electronegative and also small in size. And among the various highly electronegative atoms, we have found that it is only fluorine, oxygen, and nitrogen which have ability to form hydrogen bonds. The other electronegative atoms like chlorine, which is as much electronegative as nitrogen, is not able to form hydrogen bond because of its larger size. So the two most important conditions is for an electronegative atom is to have high electronegativity as well as small size. So we have discussed many examples. If you remember, we have seen that hydrogen bonding exists in hydrogen fluoride molecules. In hydrogen fluoride, in the same way, water also shows hydrogen bonding. Then there is ammonia. There also exists hydrogen bonding. There are alcohols. In alcohols, there exists hydrogen bonding. There are carboxylic acids. There also exists hydrogen bonding. And there are so many other compounds where hydrogen bonding takes place. And in this hydrogen bonding, we have seen that the magnitude of hydrogen bond differs from one atom to another, from one electronegative atom to another. When fluorine atom is involved in hydrogen bonding, the hydrogen bond formed is stronger. When water oxygen is involved, it is weaker than that of the hydrogen bond formed by fluorine. And when nitrogen is involved, its hydrogen bond is still weaker. That we have seen yesterday, that the strength, the magnitude of the hydrogen bond is evident from its bond energies. In case of hydrogen bond where nitrogen is involved, bond energy is 12.6 kilojoules per mole, while as in case of oxygen it is 29.3 kilojoules per mole, while as in case of fluorine it is 41.8 kilojoules per mole. So this is the value of bond energy which gives us an idea regarding the strength of the hydrogen bond. So this hydrogen bond, it affects so many properties of the compounds, and one of the properties, rather one of the effects or one of the consequences of the hydrogen bonding is on the dissociation of molecules. So this is the first effect of hydrogen bonding, dissociation of molecules. You see, it is very easy to understand. We all know that halogens form compounds with hydrogen like hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen chloride, hydrogen bromide, hydrogen iodide. Now we are aware, we know now that it is only hydrogen fluoride which forms hydrogen bonds, while as HCl, HBr and HI, they do not form hydrogen bonds. When we dissolve HCl or HBr or HI in water, these molecules dissociate to form H positive and Cl negative. HCl dissociates to form hydrogen ion and Cl negative ion. In the same way, HBr dissociates to form H ion and Br negative ion. Hydrogen iodide dissociates to form H positive ion and I negative ion. While as hydrogen fluoride, it should also dissociate to form H positive and F negative ion. But generally we see that the molecules which are formed during dissociation of hydrogen fluoride are HF2 negative ions. H positive ions and HF2 negative ions. Why it happens so? It is because of hydrogen bond. You see, it is hydrogen fluoride. This hydrogen fluoride forms another forms hydrogen bond with another hydrogen fluoride. This forms hydrogen bond with another hydrogen fluoride. That means hydrogen fluoride molecules remain associated with each other. They remain associated with each other. So when hydrogen fluoride molecule, when it dissociates, generally what happens, dissociation takes place on hydrogen bond and here. That means such the species which are formed here is H positive, and this fluoride ion formed, it remains attached to another hydrogen fluoride molecule by hydrogen bond. With the result, this F, H and another F, they form HF2 negative ion. So it is because of this hydrogen bonding that some fluorine atoms remain attached to other HF molecules because of hydrogen bond. This is why we observe different species of positive and negative ions in hydrogen fluoride. Such species are not present in hydrogen chloride, hydrogen bromide, or in hydrogen iodide because there the hydrogen bonding does not exist. So it is one of the important effects or consequences of hydrogen bonding. Another important effect of hydrogen bonding is association of molecules. Association of molecules that we have already seen in the previous examples, or here you will find that in case of hydrogen fluoride, many molecules remain in association with each other because of hydrogen bonding. In the same way, in water, we observe in water molecule H2O, we observe that one water molecule is associated to another water molecule by hydrogen bonding in this way. This is the hydrogen bond between one water molecule and another water molecule. You see, this is another water molecule H2O, another water molecule. This remains associated with this water molecule because of hydrogen bonding. In the same way, if here will be another water molecule, this water molecule will form hydrogen bond with this hydrogen and another hydrogen bond with this hydrogen. In this way, different water molecules remain in association with each other. This association is possible only because of hydrogen bonding. In the same way, the another important effect of hydrogen bonding is effect on melting points and boiling points. Generally, the compounds having hydrogen bonds in them have high melting points and high boiling points. In general, we observe that we already know, as we have seen in classification of elements, the elements present in the same group show similar chemical properties as we see in case of oxygen family. Oxygen forms water, then there is sulfur that forms H2S, then there is selenium that forms H2Se, then there is tellurium that forms H2Te. So oxygen, sulfur, selenium, and tellurium. The compounds of this group formed with hydrogen are of same molecular formula: H2O, H2S, H2Se, H2Te. Now, if we will compare the boiling points of these compounds, keeping water aside where hydrogen bonding exists, and other compounds, when you will observe the boiling points, you will find that boiling points go on increasing as we move down the group. That means H2S has less boiling point, low boiling point than H2Se, which in turn has low boiling point than H2Te. It means boiling point actually depends on the molecular mass of the compound. Since down the group molecular mass goes on increasing, so the boiling point also increases. So if the same trend will be followed, then water should have lower boiling point as compared to hydrogen sulfide. Lower boiling point. But we see this water, it has higher boiling point, not only than that of hydrogen sulfide, but its boiling point is almost higher than all the compounds of the group. So this higher boiling point of water is explained simply on the basis of this extra force of attraction which exists between different molecules, that is the hydrogen bond. And this not only affects the boiling point of the compound, but it also affects the state of existence. You see, this water, because of hydrogen bonding, it exists in the liquid state at room temperature, whereas hydrogen sulfide, it exists in gaseous state at room temperature. So the physical state of the compound is also affected by the hydrogen bonding. And another important effect of hydrogen bonding is the solubility of the compounds. Solubility of the compounds. generally generally we observe in solubility, in solution formation, in dissolution process, there is a general rule which we call like dissolves like. It is a general rule for solubility, like dissolves like. That means a compound or a substance dissolves in a solvent of its own type. Generally, the solvents are classified into two groups: polar solvents and non-polar solvents. Polar solvents and non-polar solvents. Non-polar solvents. Those compounds which are polar in nature, which have polarity on them, they get dissolved in polar solvents. For example, there is sodium chloride. It is ionic compound. It has poles on it, negative charge on chlorine, positive charge on sodium. This sodium chloride is soluble in water because water is polar in nature. On the other hand, there is naphthalene. There is a non-polar compound that is insoluble in water. Insoluble in water. So this naphthalene is insoluble in water because their nature is different. Naphthalene is non-polar substance, whereas water is polar substance. So here the formula of like dissolves like applies. Polar substance, sodium chloride, gets dissolved in polar solvent. Non-polar substance doesn't get dissolved in polar solvent. While this naphthalene, it is readily soluble in benzene because benzene is a non-polar compound. But sometimes we observe that there are some compounds which are basically non-polar or which are organic. Organic compounds get dissolved in organic solvents. Naphthalene is organic compound. It dissolves in benzene, an organic solvent. Water is an organic compound. It dissolves in this sodium chloride is an organic compound. It dissolves in water, which is inorganic solvent. But we observe that there are so many compounds which are organic in nature, but they are soluble in water. For example, alcohols are soluble in water. Alcohol is organic compound, water is inorganic compound. But this alcohol gets dissolved in water. It is because this alcohol molecule, it forms hydrogen bonds with water. It forms hydrogen bonds with water. For example, you see, this is alcohol molecule, ROH. This is water molecule, HOH. There exists a hydrogen bond between hydrogen of alcohol and oxygen of water. So this alcohol, because of this hydrogen bond, it gets dissolved in water. In the same way, we observe that ammonia gets dissolved in water. It is because ammonia forms hydrogen bonds with water. So it is because of this hydrogen bond formation between the compounds that they are soluble in one another. So the solubility of compounds is also determined by hydrogen bonding. In the same way, the hydrogen bonding, it affects the viscosity of the compounds. Viscosity of the compounds. So many compounds which are more viscous, their viscosity depends upon the hydrogen bonding. Actually, viscosity is the flowing property of the compounds. This flowing property depends upon the intermolecular force of attraction. Where the intermolecular force of attraction are stronger, the compound, the liquid becomes more viscous. That means its flowing property is decreased. And this is why that water is having higher viscosity than so many organic compounds where there doesn't exist any hydrogen bonding. So this hydrogen bonding also increases the viscosity of the compound. Increase the viscosity of the compound. It is because of extra intermolecular force of attraction. Extra intermolecular forces of attraction. Viscosity. In the same way, surface tension also is also affected by hydrogen bonding. In case of molecules where there exists hydrogen bonding, the surface tension is stronger, surface tension is higher. So surface tension is another property. Surface tension, it is another property. It is actually, surface tension is actually the force of attraction applying on the molecules present on the surface of the substance, especially liquids. In case of liquids, the molecules which are present on the surface, they feel an inward pull because of the attractive force of the molecules which lie beneath the surface of the surface molecules. That force of attraction is called a surface tension. If there exists hydrogen bonding, since it is extra force of attraction, so it will result in higher surface tension. In the same way, another property which is affected, or which on which there is prominent effect of hydrogen bonding, that is density. Another property is density, which we generally call vapor density or simply density. Relative density of the substances is affected by hydrogen bonding. Because of hydrogen bonding, the molecules generally come closer to each other. When molecules come closer to each other, that means they occupy smaller spaces. Larger number of molecules occupy smaller spaces. That means density gets increased. In the same way, you can explain the lower density of ice than water at 0 degrees Celsius or 4 degrees Celsius because of this hydrogen bonding. When hydrogen bonding exists in ice, the molecules are arranged or held by hydrogen bonds. But when this ice changes into liquid, some of the hydrogen bonds break up, and the space which remains between the molecules of the ice that's occupied by the other molecules who get detached from rest of the molecules because of hydrogen bonding. With the result, they come closer. This is why we observe that solid ice occupies more space than the liquid water. You might have observed in these winters that the pipes, underground pipes or the open pipes, they generally crack. It is because the water in them, when it changes into ice, that expands, and because of that expansion, the pipes couldn't hold them. With the result, the pipes get broken down. So it is because of this increase in volume of the ice, it is because of hydrogen bonding. So there are so many properties which are explained on the basis of hydrogen bonding. So you have observed that hydrogen bonding plays its role in affecting so many properties. The one of the properties is dissociation of molecules, then there is association of molecules, then there is melting point and boiling point, there is solubility, there is viscosity, there is surface tension, there is density. So all these properties are affected by hydrogen bonding. So now the last point regarding hydrogen bonding is types of hydrogen bonding. Very easy to understand. Types of hydrogen bonding. Hydrogen bonding is of two types. It is of two types. One is called as intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Intermolecular hydrogen bonding, and another is called as intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Intermolecular and intramolecular. As the name indicates, intermolecular hydrogen bonding simply means hydrogen bonding which takes place between the molecules, as we have seen in hydrogen fluoride. This is one hydrogen fluoride molecule. This is another hydrogen fluoride molecule. hydrogen bond is formed between these two molecules. Then this forms another hydrogen bond with another hydrogen fluoride molecule. So hydrogen bonding takes place between the molecules in case of hydrogen fluoride, in case of water, in case of ammonia. So this type of hydrogen bonding is called as intermolecular hydrogen bonding. And another is intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Intramolecular hydrogen bonding means when hydrogen bonding takes place within the molecule, within the same molecule. For example, we have a compound called as nitrophenol. Nitrophenol has the formula like this. It is nitrophenol. This compound is nitrophenol. You see, nitrophenol has NO2 group. There is negative charge on oxygen and positive charge on nitrogen. It is because oxygen is more electronegative than nitrogen. In the same way, here in OH group, there is positive charge, partial positive charge on hydrogen and partial negative charge on oxygen because of difference in the electronegativity values of oxygen and hydrogen. So this is compound nitrophenol. The compound having OH group attached to the benzene ring is called as phenol, and when there is nitro group attached to the same compound, it will be termed as nitrophenol. Now you see, in nitrophenol what happens, hydrogen bond is formed between hydrogen of OH and oxygen of nitro group. This is the hydrogen bond. So this hydrogen bond, since it has taken place in the same molecule, it is called as intramolecular hydrogen bonding. And one thing is very important regarding this intramolecular hydrogen bonding, that it results in chelation. Intramolecular hydrogen bonding results in chelation. Chelation means formation of rings. Formation of rings. That means because of intramolecular hydrogen bonding, rings are formed. You see, and this nitrophenol, before hydrogen bonding, it was an open compound, but as soon as hydrogen bonding has taken place, a new ring has developed, and this ring has 6 atoms in it: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Generally, those compounds where chelation takes place and 6-membered rings are formed, this formation of 6-membered ring is the sign of stability, or rather we may say that when rings of 6-membered rings are formed, such rings are stable rings, and this is explained actually on the basis of Bayer's theory. So that is somewhat different topic that can't be discussed presently. So it is important that when intramolecular hydrogen takes place, because of this intramolecular hydrogen bonding, ring formation takes place, which we generally called chelation. This chelation results in extra stability of the molecule, and generally those rings are stable where a 6-membered ring is formed. Another example of intramolecular hydrogen bonding is in case of salicylic acid. Salicylic acid is a compound which contains a COOH group. This is carboxylic group. When only COOH group is attached to the benzene ring, it's called a benzoic acid. But if to this benzoic acid an OH group is also attached, then it is called as salicylic acid. It is called as salicylic acid. You here once again see that there is OH bond, there will be partial positive charge on hydrogen and partial negative charge on oxygen because of their differences in electronegativity. And in case of COOH group, this oxygen will develop a partial negative charge on it, and carbon will develop a partial positive charge on it because oxygen is more electronegative than carbon. So in the same compound, there is partial negatively charged oxygen and partial positively charged hydrogen. So what will happen between these two? Hydrogen bond will take place. So once again, a new ring has been formed. This ring once again contains 6 atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this once again a stable ring. So this salicylic acid, it is a stable compound. This salicylic acid, and it intramolecular hydrogen bond takes place. One thing which we must keep in mind, that just now we have seen that because of hydrogen bonding, it is extra force of attraction, and because of this extra force of attraction, boiling points and melting points get increased. But because of intramolecular hydrogen bonding, this intramolecular hydrogen bonding, it prevents the compound from from attraction with the other molecule. That means it decreases the intermolecular force of attraction because of hydrogen bonding, intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Intermolecular force of attraction get decreased. So boiling points and melting points, they get lowered. That means decrease in boiling point and melting point takes place because of intramolecular hydrogen bonding. And intermolecular hydrogen bonding, boiling point and melting point gets increased because of extra force of attraction between the molecules. So this is all about hydrogen bonding. Inshallah, we will discuss a new unit from tomorrow. Today, this unit has come to an end, so it is sufficient for today. Thank you very much.